was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. Slow down, never. I know now, I know better. I need it more than ever. Go back under, hope that I fall on track. It's all I've said and done. Over now. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. It's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight.
All right, hey folks, thanks a lot for joining us on the live website teardown. I see we're not feeling the energy in chat. It would be awesome to know where you're all from. So if you can just put with city where you're logging from, that'd be super helpful so that we know where everybody's joining us from. I know we have a bunch of people joining us today. We're going to be tearing down or kind of doing a very detailed audit, live audit of a couple of very interesting online stores that we've looked at. We received a bunch of entries and we've at random picked out two, and we have Audit with us. Audit, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Awesome. So we have Audit with us, and we picked out two at random, and we've also, of course, notified the kind of the lucky draw winners or whatever you want to call it, for which ones we've chosen. From Wicklow, Ireland. Awesome. There, you're most welcome. So we're gonna jump into the websites and run the audit. We already have, I think, the expected number of attendees with us. So before we jump into the websites itself, and before we give this to Audit, I just want to quickly talk about why we came up with this idea and where we're coming from with the audit itself. And now, a little bit of ConvertCart, we started about 5 years ago, and what we wanted to solve for was to help e-commerce founders, marketers grow exponentially, because generally speaking, we knew that businesses are aware about the conversion rate conundrum or the conversion rate problem, but everybody seems to get stuck in this flywheel of having spent a lot of money on demand, bring the right kind of traffic to the site, or hope to bring the right kind of traffic to the site, a percentage of traffic that might end up converting, spend some dollar to scale, the operations, scale the customer experience, sell better products, but then all the leftover profits go back into spending them on demand, go back into Facebook and Google ads and whatnot. So that kind of, puts most e-commerce businesses in a flux. And the only way to break the glass ceiling of growth is we felt was to scale conversion rate, was to do aggressive experimentation naturally after you've grown to a certain size, after you have a product market fit. Now, the easiest way to understand if you have a product market fit is to ask your customers that if I took the product that I gave you away from you, how much would it hurt? So if on a scale of 10, it hurts them more than 4, I'd say you have product market fit. And, of course, where it sits between 5 and 10 tells you how much of a product market fit you have. But if you're selling something of value, your customers must be in love with it. They might want to buy it again. If it's something that cannot be or does not get bought again or again and again, that's okay. You just still got to understand if you really have something that customers end up loving. But coming back to why ConvertCart began, it was to solve for this broken flywheel. Because we realized that to solve for conversion rates, to actually go and improve your conversion rate exponentially, and what we also realized is that generally speaking, for an e-commerce business, conversion is a metric that largely does not drastically change if they don't make sweeping changes to the way they either drive traffic or they serve their experience. But to effectively do it, you have to run this cycle that you see on the left side of the screen, which means you have to collect the right data, analyze it, find the problems that exist on the site. So where are people dropping off? Where are you losing customers? Where are you losing revenue? And then create solutions to solve for those problems. These solutions could be anything. They could be anything on the website. They could be your search, they could be personalization, they could be the page layout, they could be the way you communicate, your messaging, your pricing. It could be a lot of different things. And you've got to deploy these solutions and hope to God that it works. Or the better way to do it is that you test these improvements. You run an A/B test, you run an experiment, you figure out if it works out for you or not, right? And that's exactly what that's exactly what e-commerce businesses find extremely hard to do. And how we learned this is, the first 10 customers that we onboarded, we just gave them our platform. We said, hey, all the best. I hope you are successful with CRO. And they all said, hey, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. So when we looked deeper into the problem, we figured out that largely speaking, what businesses are trying to do is they're trying to sign up with these siloed tools and solutions, and they're trying to solve these problems in small pockets. So there is a search tool or an A/B testing tool or an analytics tool, etc., and then you hope to God that it works out. All of that. So that makes the entire process very complex, and success is very, very rare in conversion optimization. In fact, we do something really interesting when we sit down on demos or conversations with our customers or prospects. Even we survey them. We ask them, okay, what are you doing? How much have you already spent on CRO? Why is it successful? Why is it not successful? 85% have never seen $1 in return on any CRO spends. And the reason is they're not doing it right. They're doing it in this, sort of band-aid way of trying to solve siloed problems from one place to another. But when you zoom out a little bit, and Arneet is going to help us do that a little bit more today in the form of the 2 teardowns that we are doing for you today. And we plan to spend about 40 minutes from now, or about 35, 40 minutes from now on the 2 teardowns. So Arneet, I'm sorry to hustle you in the little time we have, but then we want to open it up for questions and answers at the end. If you still have some conversation you want to have while we do that, please put it in the chat. I'm going to be continuing to take care of the chat. If you're not able to use the chat, let me know in a question so that I can figure out why that's happening, because I just felt that nobody's feeling the vibe of the song. I love the song. I don't know why you guys didn't react to the song at all. But anyways, so coming back to what I was going to say, as far as CRO goes, there are 3 key things we need to solve for. So chat is disabled. There you go. Vachini, thank you so much. I'll enable chat. That's my bad. So there are 3 key things we'll talk about, and Arneet is going to throw more light on it. The first is product discovery, right? So for all the traffic you drive on your site, some of it is going to reach the product page directly. Some of that might not. They're going to enter from your site or to your site from the home page or anywhere else, right? So the other problem, there is the first complete product discovery. Help them find something they truly love, right? The second part is convince them that this is something that they want to buy, which is, why should I buy this product from you? Why should I buy it right now? And why should I not buy it from your competitor, right? Why this? Why you? Why right now? So once those questions are answered is when somebody has intent enough to add product to cart, and the final step is checkout, which is they're ready to commit. So we're going to look at this entire journey in good detail. And we're also going to talk about how, if an effective CRO process is run, how this entire story looks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this around to Aneet. I'll allow him to walk us through the 2 teardowns. We have 2 amazing websites to show you today. So sit back. I hope you've grabbed whatever is your favorite beverage, and just, of course, keep throwing stuff at me in questions, and I'll just enable chat. So let's continue the conversation there. And Arneet, you can just, go crazy.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you. And very good afternoon to everyone. I hope We've had a good first month to 2023. Shaker spoke, largely about conversion rate optimization and, the challenges inherently that come with it. Now we have two brands here, two very interesting websites. The first one is this cardio equipment brand called Ascend, movewithascend.com. I'll talk a little bit about, the methodology that I like to follow when, and then Shaker, feel free to sort of throw more light on that later. When I look at websites, I essentially, look at the mobile and the desktop experience. A lot of brands, a lot of websites today see mobile heavy traffic. So it makes a lot of sense to, tear down the mobile experience more than the desktop. And then it also makes sense to look at, different avenues of the website itself. So your collection pages where you're talking about, individual collections, or the PDPs, the product pages. A lot of the action happens on the product pages. So, we naturally tend to scrutinize the experience on the product page, as well as the experience leading up to the product page. So Shekhar spoke about 3 parts to the journey, and, the most important one being discovery of the product, making sure that the people who are landing on your website are able to find the product that they're there for, and they don't drop off. So to that extent, I'm going to start off with the first one, which is movewithascend.com. By the looks of it, it's a website set up on Shopify, currently using a bunch of tools. And, as Shekhar, you mentioned earlier, it's a band-aid more than a solution, so you have Velio, Klaviyo, Hotjar, Optimize, Stamped, working in silos and doing a bunch of different things. So one of the things that I noticed while I was on Ascend's website was search. Search is something that is really missing. Step back and really ask ourselves, is search really important? It is absolutely important. One of the biggest revenue generators in any e-commerce experience is the search bar, for the simple reason that people who make a search are aware of your products. There is a certain intent to purchase, and because of which statistics support this. Of all businesses that I've spoken with, people who come on a website and make a search or perform a search tend to convert around 5 to 7%, 5 to 7 times higher than the ones who are not making a search, for the reasons I just listed. So for that reason, search should be front and center of your user experience, unless you are a single product website, you have just one hero product that you're selling, and that's about it. This is not the case with Ascend. So you have a bunch of products over here. You have a lot of things around strength, strength and training as well, apart from the spin bikes, treadmills, and ellipticals. The problem, though, is that search, specifically across the mobile experience, is hidden. Search here is inside the hamburger menu, right? So you don't see search when I'm on the home page or on any other part of the website. I need to open up the menu and go ahead and engage with something like this. So that's a huge drawback. The same also comes across in desktop. It's not highly prominent, and I would prefer, in most websites that I start looking at, I prefer seeing a search bar that's more visible, center of the screen, impossible to miss. And because we are in this space, what we have done is, I have this very, very interesting example over here of this clothing brand called Kiona, plus size women fashion, based in North America. And when we started working with Kiona, we saw something similar, that the search is not really very prominent, even though it's not hidden inside the menu button. In this case, search is not a very visible feature. It's not a sticky feature either. So as I start scrolling down the pages, notice the search no longer continues to follow me. And because of that, we wanted to improve this experience. This is what we did. So it's a very simple and a very fundamental change. You have a visible search experience now that was earlier absent. And it's also a sticky feature. So, we've fixed both the issues with the search. And here's the crux. We have A/B tested this. A/B testing sort of validates the idea that you had in the first place, and also puts a number and quantifies what is the improvement that you're seeing. So this A/B test set up a couple of years ago for 43,000 users ended up giving a 16.5% higher conversion. Wow. And for just putting it out in the spanner for folks who are not as familiar with A/B testing, we have just split the traffic in 2 halves. And when we introduce the change, one half of the traffic continues to see this experience, while the other half sees the improved experience. And then you compare the conversion rate of both these groups. In this case, the result was 1.4 versus 1.63. So a change as simple and as fundamental as the search bar has given a brand a 16% higher conversion. And following the cycle that Shekhar spoke about earlier can, lead to improvements like these, will lead to improvements like these, right?
And
But
one of the things that I might want to add here, Arneet, is that, this is an idea that I'm sure is discussed many times. You can visit any blog, they all talk about it. But
yeah,
generally speaking, when an idea like this is worthy of giving a shot, is when data tells you to do that. So what would happen for a website like this one is we'd look at their traffic, how much of that traffic goes and searches, what is the conversion rate for people who search, what is the bounce rate for people who search versus the people who don't search. And then we figure out that is the search traffic higher intent and higher conversion rate. Almost always that's the case. But then we also look at what search depth we are able to create. And then with the search depth, what products are people viewing? So would access to those products made more prominent, more faster, would that solve for the idea? If the answer to that is yes, that's when we go and make that implementation. Generally, what I see teams doing is they look at 10 ideas, they design those ideas, they deploy it on the website, and just they really hope that it works out. I know people prioritize velocity over depth, but I'd not recommend taking that back to you.
yeah. No, fair observations. And you spoke about search experience and the depth in the search experience, and I think that's an interesting point that you bring up, because if you look at the search experience on movewithascend.com, I can search for anything on the website, and it's a simple search template that shows up. Nothing majorly wrong with it, but I think given the fact that apart from these 4 major categories, the website also has a lot of products under the strength and build your own bundle. So there are a lot of SKUs if you go to these pages, and you realize that the website has a lot more to offer than just ellipticals or treadmills or rowing machines. And search should reflect that. Search should be able to sort of accommodate that fact and bring it across in the journey. That's really when you are able to tie it all together and boost your conversion rates. A good example would be New Wear. It's another brand set out of North America, and there are a couple of things that are working really well here. First is the search suggestions, the website itself telling its audience what can you, hey, these are a couple of things that you might want to start exploring if you're here for the first time, or even if you've been here before. And interestingly enough, say I'm searching for air conditioners on the website, right? The search experience over here is much more immersive, and this is what adding depth to the search is. In isolation, when you start looking at features or widgets such as search and continue to optimize them over time, what eventually turns out is immense contribution in overall conversions, overall engagement on the website, overall transactions that you generate. So after deploying the search on UA's website, we are seeing numbers like these, top of the funnel numbers, very, very impressive. In any given month, we are currently looking at the month of January, more or less. Search alone has pulled in 79 orders, pulled in $26,000 of revenue. That's about 18% of the overall website revenue. And very importantly, the conversion rate of people or sessions that are interacting with search versus that are not interacting with search, there's a huge delta over there. So the website, the sessions without search convert at only about 0.27%, less than 3%, whereas those making a search convert at significantly 3.6% higher.
Yeah. So that's another benchmark that I can share with the cohort here is, if your search to conversion rate is less than 5 times of the overall conversion of the site. So if your overall website converts at 1%, but people who are searching convert at 4%, it's 4 times. That's not good enough. Yep. What you're aiming for is an upwards of 5 sort of a number. So here we're talking about a 12 time multiplier on the, because, and the reason for that is because that's how it's a very clear differentiator, because people who search are extremely high intent. So they need to convert significantly better than everybody else who's driving to the site.
Yeah, absolutely. Another area that I think the website really misses out on, and this is for people's attention span as soon as they land on the homepage, is the first fold. This probably the most valuable real estate on your entire homepage, or your entire website, is the first fold of your homepage. And here you see there is just one call to action, which is shop all. Of course, I can interact with the drop downs, but that's a different story. When people are looking at your homepage, you want to start engaging. with them, you want to give them actionables, you want to, sort of nudge them towards either a category page or a blog or a product page, and, push them deeper in the funnel. Having just one call to action doesn't serve the purpose. Also, there is a lot of opportunity that is wasted over here. So there is just a static image, which itself is not clickable. I would recommend, there's this beautiful website, DK Hardware, that we're working with, and a couple of implementations that really worked out well for them. If you look at the homepage banner, it's first of all a clickable sliding banner, and each of the banners have these tabs. All of them are clickable. So I can not only, the website is using that real estate to communicate what the top categories are, it's also giving users actionables that they can, simply go ahead and engage with. And this has a massive implication, not just on your overall conversion rates, but even more intrinsic parameters such as your exit and drop-offs, your average session durations, and the way people engage with your website, right? So I think that's also one area that the website can do to improve its conversions. May seem, slightly insignificant, but I'm sure it is going to give great results. Another area where a lot of brands miss the bus is value proposition. I cannot, I've lost count of the number of brands I've spoken to where the value proposition of the entire offering is massive, but they do a terrible job of communicating this or getting it in front of the users. Simple stuff like the fact that you have a 12-month warranty, or the fact that the brand, offers 30-day returns, is absolutely buried within the fine print of the website. So stuff like this creates the differentiation that, Shekhar, you spoke about earlier. Why, when you ask the question, why buy an elliptical cycle from Ascend and not from XYZ, which is a similar prayer, these are the reasons why. Of course, the fact that, your brand equity plays into it, but people who are already on the website, it doesn't make that much of a difference to them. What does make a difference is stuff like your 1-year warranty, or the fact that you have free shipping, or the fact that you have 30-day returns, or the fact that you have, very good after sales support. So all of this shouldn't be in, the second last fold of the website as it is, or the third last fold of the website. It should be probably somewhere in the first or in the second fold. Even on product pages, this value proposition needs to be reiterated. And I would argue that even the cart section and the checkout experience need to talk about those value propositions. It's only when you reiterate it again and again in a user's journey will that actually become a part of their buying decision, right? Yeah. And I think it's easy to set up an A/B test for something like this, for something like a search bar, and establish certain behavioral patterns within your audience. So when we tend to start working or take up a CRO project, running these implementations gives us a pulse of the audience and helps us understand what kind of changes work versus what kind of changes don't work. So doing this on a cyclic process, Shekhar, I think that's the whole the cycle that you spoke about. It really ties it together.
For something like value prop highlights, it's so, I mean, I don't know how many times I have heard this idea before, and it's so, for a lot of people that we tell this, oh, of course we're going to do this. Of course, this is so obvious. But I think, one of the things that really stands out is there are things that your eyes see and there are things that your mind sees. And I think trust is something that you have to build over time as the user continues to interface with your site. There is a marquee bar on the website on the top, which kind of moves really fast. I don't know how fast it moves for you, but for me, it moved extremely, it moves really fast. I don't know, because on screen share, it stutters a little bit, so it's hard to figure out, but I would slow that down for starters. I think Julian is also asking us that same question. We have a USB bar on top, but what would you change that? I would make it a little slower, to be honest. Julian, that's the only change I would make to that bar. We've done that for a couple of customers. There's one called drinkhydrant.com where we've done a marquee bar and we put it below the first fold instead of top of the first fold. So that's a great implementation, no doubt. But it's the product information that matters. How many seconds? I just make it more legible. If you want me to quantify that, I can come back to you with that information.
All right. All right. I also wanted to bounce off some ideas around the discovery experience. And because the biggest part of the puzzle that a lot of brands also miss out today is solving for the discovery, and where the majority of the, in my experience, what I've seen brands do is concentrate majority of their optimization efforts from the point, the cart begins or the checkout visit begins. And because they feel those are the most valuable customers. While that is true, it's also, the bulk of the customers that are dropping off before they add anything to the cart. So it's important that you look at the discovery or the experience leading up to the product discovery. And one of the things that I generally recommend websites start doing, and this holds true for no matter the industry, no matter the market that you are in, is showcase more products on your homepage. You can talk about your categories all you want, but unless you actually start showcasing products. So Ascend over here has about 4 bestsellers that they're talking about. And I think given the limited breadth of their product catalog currently, I can see why they've done that. And, there's little scope of optimization, but I would have loved to see something, say, as a newly added series or something that's, for example, if you look at treadmills, you have an Ascend and X1, Ascend X2, Ascend S3. So is the case with ellipticals. So there are certain models that would have been launched earlier, certain models that will be launched recently. Differentiate that, talk about those on your homepage. And the analogy I like giving with this is that not having products positioned on the homepage is similar to having a beautiful store in, one of the most premium locations in your city. But when a user or a customer walks into your store, the front display is all empty. So it's similar to that. If you don't have the right kind of products on your homepage, people will not be tempted enough to engage with your categories or go to a product page itself. And to that effect, product recommendations as a feature, my guess is this is also being powered by an external app for the website. So these features, you'll find a plethora of tools and apps out there that claim to offer something like this. And it's a simple plug and play. You can have it up and running within a couple of days, but that's the end of the story. What really adds value, what should add value, is that any recommendation tool worth its salt should be able to give you insights around it and should be able to give you actionable insights, telling you what the overall engagement parameters are, and more importantly, helping your team understand how each of your algorithms, say your best-selling algorithm for each attribute versus best-selling products for each category, how are they performing? For example, what our team ends up doing, or what we end up doing for websites, is really dissecting the mini funnel for each of these algorithms. So it's not the job doesn't end by just showcasing these products. You need to understand what kind of click and convert you get with them, whether these are the right or the most conducive to convert products that you should be showing on your website. Are there other products that will work better? What the website doesn't give a lot of visibility to both of these subcategories, while they have a bulk of the SKUs on the website. So I think that should also be accommodated somewhere in the homepage. Personalization is something that goes hand in hand with product recommendations, making the user journey relevant for each user basis what they've done on the website so far. How many times have they visited your website? What pages have they gone to when they visited your website? What categories have they looked at? What have they added to their cart? Have they wishlisted or compared two products? All of these data points need to be picked up and need to be incorporated in the user's journey in order to make it more relevant. If you look at this simple brand over here, Prairie Supply Company, you'll see a lot of products. You'll see a very prominent search bar, a lot of good things that the website is doing. But what I really like about them is the recently viewed section widget that we have positioned for them. It's a simple call to action present right over here, which will follow you everywhere you go on the website. And it's actually a slider, which will show you all the products that you've already checked out on the website. So I could have come on the website today, checked out a couple of, hoodies or a couple of shoes, and then exited the website to return, say, maybe 2 weeks later or a month later. The recently viewed product section will store those products for me and remind me of my previous session when I'm on the website. So these simple things, when put all of them to you put them all together, your overall experience is enhanced, and most importantly, your conversion rates, they go up. And it's as I said earlier, any tool that claims to do product recommendations for you should be able to give you a detailed rundown on how those recommendations are performing, where they are versus where they should be,
So I think another couple of points I'll add there, Arnie. The first is you spoke about how there are many tools that offer to do similar things, and that's one of the things that we always think about. You go to an app store, or we find an app through a marketing campaign or whatever else. But a problem that creates is we add like 7, 8, maybe 10 apps to the website, and that 7, 8, probably 10 scripts loading. And when an app is just $5, I think it's hard for them to optimize beyond a point on how kind of architecture they use, etc. The other thing is inherently a lot of SaaS tools build for fashion, because fashion is about 45% of e-commerce. So all of these apps are one size fits all. So that makes a problem. The third or most important thing, and which I think is highly relevant for Ascend, is personalization goes a long, long way for websites that have high or average order values. Because the customers are not going to buy a treadmill in their first visit. They're going to have multiple visits. The average visits for a transaction is probably 2 plus. So it will be 2.1 or 2.2. We will have to probably see them, maybe 1.8, you never know. In which case they might want to solve for their repeat traffic rate. But in either of those cases, for a website like this, repeat visit is your bread and butter. And I think you might want to double down on personalizing for the repeat visit, for the repeat visitor, not only the experience, everything else as well.
Yep.
Right. Which means how do you, so apart from showing them recently viewed products, what are some alternatives, what kind of momentum those products are getting, social proof changes for them, it becomes more regional. So I'm logging in from Toronto, I start to see how many people from Toronto are probably purchasing this, so we can make it location specific. So a lot of things that can be done, but I think it goes a long way to think separately about your repeat customer versus somebody who comes to the for the first time.
Right. And you spoke about alternatives. So, interestingly enough, Ascend's product pages have these alternatives. It's if you really look at it, it's actually a very nicely done section where you are comparing these products. The problem is it's way down the experience, so I would recommend them having a call to action, next to the add to cart that says compare, and that simply takes you to this section, or simply highlighting this, improving the positioning of it and bringing it up the page. Because this might, when you talk about recommendations, this is something that if I'm looking at an L300, I would want to see what an L100 and an L200 do. More so because the AOV is, slightly on the higher side. So I'd want to make those comparisons, look at features, look at specs, and then, probably go ahead and make a purchase for this. Yeah. Right. Bundling products, it's another very interesting section that I saw on this website was this, create your own bundle. So under strength, you have this build your own strength bundle. Now, from a business standpoint, I'm not sure where the priorities lie, whether they are really wanting to, double down on something like this on the website. But it leads me to believe, because it's present over there, it leads me to believe that it is something that is on the focus. And this needs to, first of all, come forth in the user's journey more prominently. Unless a user is really, wanting to scrutinize the website, chances are very high that they will absolutely skim over this without even ever coming across the fact that you can build your own bundle here. So you might want to start putting a call to action on your homepage that makes it crystal clear for users that, hey, you can purchase products off the shelf, of the rack, and you can also bundle them together for probably your own personal home workout. So that is number one. The second is when a user comes to a page like this, by default, the page looks like this. So your bundle is empty. Your bundle must contain at least, so there is some optimization and copy that is required over there. But nevertheless, let's say I have added a barbell. Now, ideally, the website should tell me what most people add as the second item after adding a barbell. So are these starter bundle or a bumper plate, or and whatever works, and so on and so forth for each SKU. The suggestion here is adding similar products, frequently bundled and frequently purchased products, along with the suggestions along with the implementation over here. I like the fact that they have kept the add to cart as a static feature on the right hand side, while the user can browse through the entire catalog on the left and keep on adding stuff to the bundle. This is nicely done in my opinion, but there is a tremendous scope of optimizing this. There's a lot of white space in this static section on the right hand side. We can utilize that. give them an estimated total is okay already here, but you can talk about what all products can go potentially with this.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
one of the other things that you might help here are to kind of separate how the user looks at high commitment versus low commitment items, right? So all the add-ons and extras such as the J hooks and the handle kit and all of that are add-ons to a fundamental bundle that I'm trying to build. So what I really want to add is barbell and some weights, and then everything else is an add-on. So let me first commit to what basic bundle I'm trying to build and then recommend everything. So I think kind of cadencing these things in the right way in that sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Interesting way to look at it. Yeah, right. And when I was on the product page again, so as I mentioned earlier, the user is eventually going to pull the trigger over here. Couple of things nicely done by the website. So the add to cart, they've made sure that it's a sticky feature. 8 out of 10 websites that I speak with today, miss something as fundamental as this. So that's, nicely done. The fact that you are also offering, showcasing the EMI option or the breakdown of staggered payments versus a one-time payment, that's also very nicely done. But what I think the website is lacking, is value proposition that I have covered earlier, e-commerce aspects of the value proposition. And the second is, these product-based value props. So 20 programs to choose, larger 8 kg flywheel, all these images over here. I fail to understand why they are a separate feature on the product page and not a part of the image slider over here. And I highly recommend that the website include all of those images as a part of the images at the top. You can actually get rid of this section altogether and include all these images over here. The other thing that you could also do is, because there is a lot of value prop coming here, tablet holder, oversized footrest, smooth mechanism, that should be condensed and, positioned somewhere in the first fold. So if I show you this interesting example over here, good to know by Groom, because this is, personal and a beauty care brand. So we are on a shampoo bar product, very high on, the fact that they are, nasties free, completely vegan, all of that. So these infographics earlier on the website were in the form of, this very heavy text. So the process of optimization has sort of condensed all of that text and put it into the form of these infographics. And the website should consider that as an, an A/B test. And I think it's an ideal scenario for an A/B test. Should give the product page conversions at least a 12 to 15%, bump, in my opinion. And one of the other areas that I was, expecting the website to, really engage me was to collect my email address. I did not come across a single opt-in while I was on the website, which is, and I think I see you smiling over there, Shekhar, because I know, collecting emails means throwing a pop-up in front of me when I'm on the website, and some businesses, very, very consciously stay away from that. But I'd like you to sort of give your 2 cents on it, because I'm sure you have some data on that.
Yeah. So no, I pulled this up, by the way, just before this discussion, and I thought that it's useful for everybody to see it. So I'm just gonna very quickly share my screen and let me know when you see it. Just give me a second. It's loading up. Okay, so this is, I apologize for showing a spreadsheet but I wanted to keep the data raw so that you see the source. But so Julian says there is an opt-in if you are in Canada, so that's great. I think so. We're not in Canada, clearly, so that's why we don't see the opt-in. But let's kind of talk about 2 things there. The first thing I want to talk about is the opt-in strategy itself. One of the things that businesses don't do well is they don't analyze the data and think through how they want to opt customers in. So what we would normally do for our customers is we would double down and create highly specific segments depending on what kind of user behavior we are seeing, and what's really happening. So for example, in this case, I'm saying everybody who is on a desktop device is on a certain page on the website, has had 2 sessions before, and is coming from the home page to a specific page. So we're creating a subset. So we're able to actually analyze traffic and find specific areas which you want to attack about opt-ins. So for example, one of the things we're able to solve for our customers is a very high opt-in rate for new visitors. But for a lot of cases, we end up having this exchange with our customers where we have to just sell the whole idea of doing a proper opt-in, a gamified opt-in maybe, which, when you think of it, sounds intrusive, ridiculous, but I just want to, in data, show you the value of running a thought out opt-in strategy, right? Not a one size fits all. Everybody gets to see the opt-in, everybody falls. It's not going to happen. Your opt-in rate is probably going to hover between three, best case 6%. If you're doing better, I really want to see what you're doing. In our case, we're able to go upwards of 8% in almost all of our customers. But here, what you're seeing is a customer that has a list size of 15,000 when they sign up with us in the beginning of the year. And their new traffic, the new traffic percentage of the traffic is about 45,000 visits, and they're opting in about 2% of their customers. Once a couple of interestingly thought out, non-intrusive, segmented opt-ins go live on a site, their opt-in rate goes up to 8%. So they're opting in about 4,000 people a month, right? Now, what's happening at the end of 12 months for them with their traffic not scaling beyond 65,000 visits is their list size is growing to about 65,000. So from 15, they're in a year at 65,000. This is your own audience. You don't need to pay anyone. I'll tell you a very interesting fact. 43% of all VC money raised in the US goes to Google and Facebook. That's ridiculous. All VC money, 43% of that goes to Google and Facebook to run ads. So it's only about the remaining 67% or so that you're left with, 57% or so that you're left with, that you can use to build a business. So the interesting thing is this audience, however, you own it. These are your people. So another interesting way on how you're creating opportunity is, let's say at this point, when they signed up with us, their total email revenue was about $5,000. I don't know what it is for you, Julian, at Ascend, but let's say it's $5,000 for a list size about 15,000, right? So they're doing a very good, very effective email strategy. So they're making about 33 cents per email. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the revenue and I'm dividing that with the number of emails. You've got 33 cents. Fantastic. If you're doing anywhere above 20% of your revenue from emails, you're great. Anywhere above 30%, you're phenomenal. So you're doing a fantastic job. You're already winning the race. But imagine if your list size was compounding by 8%. So that would grow things very quickly. But if you apply this 33 cents per email revenue potential you have in your list to a 65,000 list, you're talking about $22,000 that you are able. So you've grown your email revenue potential by fourfold in a span of a year. So that's how the most successful brands that we know drive upwards of 30% of their revenue from emails. And the only secret, just emails alone don't make it happen. It's a mix of both running an effective opt-in strategy and running an effective email strategy. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share about the opt-ins. I think there's a lot of taboo around it. No, we're not going to do it. Bounce rate, this and that. You can plan out. You can do a lot of very specific segments, very thought out segments to do opt-ins really well. Yep, I agree. And in the interest of time, I also wanted to spare some time. Yeah, I think we have a few ideas that are unique for the second website. So why don't we look at those really specific ideas, because we wanted to pick websites also that are very different. So although the randomization automatically threw these two up, we were also really happy that we didn't have to go back and cheat and pick another website that we didn't want to show. So let's just jump into it, Arneet, and really quickly look at a couple of the ideas. And maybe you can give a 2-second brief on what the website actually does, so that's helpful. Right. So this is Mama Says. I hope I'm getting the name right. That's as right as you can get as far as I'm concerned. That's exactly how I read it, but yeah. Right. So I mean, I'm sure we've come across these brands that offer meals to your doorstep, and these are the speciality for them is they're vegan, gluten-free, peanut-free, oil-free, etc. So that's their differentiation within an already existing niche. But essentially what they do is they have these meal kits that, either you can build your own meal kit on the website based on your dietary preferences, if you're following a dietary regime, etc., or you have an option, to go a la carte. So you can go ahead. There are some pre-curated meals already out there. You can order them, enjoy them. By the looks of it, the website, currently focuses more on pick your meal plan, because there are a lot of implementations around it. So if you're, I'm gonna stick to the desktop experience, it's easier to render.
So if you click on the pick your meal, first of all, that's a call to action that comes across in a lot of places. So you'd see it over here. You go down the page, you'll see it again as this pick your meal, and then, create custom plan, a different copy, but it again takes you to the same page, which is, a sort of a questionnaire. So you click on that and you start entering, start asking, the website starts asking you a bunch of questions. The very first thing that they need to do is they ask where you are located. I think this is one thing that technically can be, omitted altogether. If a user has given consent to the browser to track their location, we can actually pick up the location automatically basis their IP. So we can geotag them. The second is, you start using your bundle. So over here, one of the things that for me as a user might drive me off is the fact that the progress bar is not clear. So I don't know how many more steps, it's not telling me 1 of n or 2 of n or 3 of n. I don't know how many more steps to go. It looks like there's it's a painful process to go through these one by one. So nevertheless, let's go ahead, select a curated bundle or build your a la carte bundle. So let's say I want to build my own bundle. I click on how it works, I choose size, start making these selections, right? Change the frequency. Or the other option is I go ahead and choose from one of their existing bundles, which is also quite interesting because there are a bunch of options over here as well. So I like the implementation where, they are in a single sort of snapshot trying to give different options to users. There is definite scope of optimization over here as well. The good things that I like here is they have created these tags, bestseller, new, so that certain users gravitate towards this, specifically, the first time customers on the website. But I think just, zooming out a little bit, this whole experience of this questionnaire, it forms, in my opinion, a huge chunk of, the clicks on the website, and people who take the pain and fill the entire questionnaire more or less are, just a step away from converting. So this is really, really critical to the whole and soul of the website. And for that reason, I think there is tremendous amount of optimization that is required here. Firstly, I think pick your meal as a plan. Pick your meal plan as a call to action is something that people should find in front of their eyes at all times. So my first suggestion would be to have it as a sticky call to action. On the left side of the screen, right side of the screen, top of the screen, wherever, just make sure that this red CTA button, is present in front of the user's eyes at all time. And once a user enters this experience, what we like to call it in, our own sort of nomenclature is, a product selection wizard or a product selection tool. And there are countless examples where we have implemented this. One of my favorite examples to showcase this is this website called Houseplant Shop. It's a brilliant website that deals, as the name suggests, with houseplants. So people over here, the ones who have purchased before, they know what kind of plant they are looking for. So they go ahead and make search or, browse to that product page, finish the experience. The others go through this experience, which is find your perfect plant. And this is a questionnaire that's set up by us. Now, what you see here is step 1 of 4. So instantly tells you there are 4 steps. Moreover, it's the entire experience is going to run through it. I own a couple of plants. What type of natural light do you get in your home? Indirect bright light. I live with pets. Yes. What do you want from your house plant? Low effort plant. This is a very important step. And this is what I like to call, friction being introduced by choice. Yes, you are interrupting the questionnaire by throwing in, a form with the email field, but because these are high intent users, you will get very good responses over here. And this is a skippable step. So it's not mandatory for me to go ahead and make these suggestions, make my enter my email address. So I can simply skip this. And what's then shown to me is, basis my selections, all the products. There is another experience for this BNPC, Beauty and Personal Care brand that we work with. It's goes by the name Vedix, and they are into skincare and hair care products. So very naturally, they wanted to understand, and the USP for them is also, slightly tailored, slightly customized formulas for your hair type or your skin type or your hair or skin concern. So we created this questionnaire, Know Your Skin or Know Your Hair, which is essentially, again, a product selection wizard. So the one I think is performing better currently is the Know Your Hair quiz, because it is image based again. Again, the progress bar at the top, instead of me making the entire experience a little painful for users by making them go through 10 different questions, I've just broken it down into sets of 3 questions each. At every point I have 3 questions in front of me, and I can continue, answer 3 questions again and answer 3 questions again. I'm done with the quiz. So this is something that is optimized over time. This is something that one of the key takeaways that we had once we've set up this quiz for them was these progress bars, or these progression bar. This is very important in order to make sure people who begin taking the quiz also end up finishing the quiz. So when we started with Vedics, about 55% of the people would drop off midway through taking the quiz, and that number has drastically come down now, and it's under control at about 15%. So the whole point of conversion optimization, as Shekhar was saying earlier, is not just one-time fixes. It's understanding what would really work for your audiences, for the nature of your products. People would come to Mama Says not with probably an intent to make a one-off purchase, but build a plan. So because this is the front and center of what the website wants to do, I very, very strongly suggest that that is one area that they should really look to optimize. Right. The other thing is also that not everybody would come onto the website to create a curated plan. There would be people who would want a one-off purchase, or want to go a la carte. So why not give them those 2 clear options? Here is another great example that we had very, very recently implemented for this website, Fashion Formula. And now a little about this business. They they are into people can come onto this website, upload their own designs. They have a healthy mixture of B2B and B2C customers. A lot of artists make use of this particular website. So if you have a print in mind, you can get that print onto a fabric, and then have t-shirts out of it, or have curtains made out of it, or have cushion covers made out of it, whatever. So either you could, earlier there were 2 paths that users could take down the website, but it was not very, very clearly communicated. We wanted to make that information crystal clear for them, and we reduced the clutter over here. Simply have 2 call to actions: shop our collections, print your own design. This is actually an A/B test that is currently running on the website. We are already seeing about 9% improvement so far while the A/B test is still running. So and that by the time we conclude the A/B test, I think the improvement, the gain would be somewhere about 13 to 14%, which is a very, very significant improvement if you look at it, by just sort of trimming down the excess content that is there on the website and giving very clear defined paths to users. And I think something like this very much applies to the website that we are looking at here as well, because you can either have a one-off purchase, or you can create your own plan over here. So that's another suggestion that I have for the website. Sorry. Yeah. The value prop is again missing in the website. Now, I know I like talking about value proposition a lot, and as Shekhar, you said earlier, is something that's so obvious for people when it's after it is pointed out that they wonder why we did not have it in the first place. But if you really look at the website again here, stuff like you can cancel or pause the subscription at any time. All of this is again present in the fine print of the website. So you go to the FAQ page, or if you go to the terms and policy page, you'll realize all of that. Even if you look at this mini copy here, money back guarantee, cancel anytime. They have free shipping that is present in the top bar over here. So it is present on the website. It's not that it's not just mentioned in the website anywhere, but it's not prominent. It's as good as being absent on the website. And I think because you would want to reiterate that, as I said earlier, on your product pages as well, you'd want to put it over here. I would also recommend them creating those infographics and having them populate the questionnaire as well. So every step of the questionnaire, remind users that you have free shipping, remind that you can, after the plan that you're creating, you can cancel it anytime, you can modify it anytime, you have guarantee on it. That's another way that will give you short improvement in conversions. All right, let's see what else can we. All right, another area, when we were setting up the questionnaire for Vedix and for plant shop. In both of them, A/B testing every step of it. Another example that I like showing here is Repairs Universe. One of the standout implementations done by my team earlier. It's something that we had done about 5 or 6 years ago, but still continues to be one of the most successful implementations. So this is Repairs Universe. This is a website where you can come and find DIY kits for whatever kind of issue you have with your gadget. So your smartphones, your laptops, your tablets, your smartwatches, you can find a DIY kit to fix whatever issue you have. So what we have positioned for them is this product selection wizard. I say I have an iPhone with a cracked screen. So I come here, click on the screen button, and then I follow this experience where I'm needed to input my brand first. So it could be a Samsung, HTC, or an Apple, which is an iPhone, and which is an iPhone 11. And this immediately takes me to the specific product page, right? So it's possible for you to redirect people to product pages like these, or, show them a grid of products, or take them to collection pages like these. It's a matter of understanding what would work best for your audience and for your experience, right? But the point is, the bottom line of all of this is that you need to start doing it. You need to start optimizing this, pick your meal plan, right? Email collection. Shekhar, you spoke about the benefits of email collection, and I wanted to also talk about some examples of the work that we have done with email opt-ins. I have some very simple yet very effective email opt-in examples over here. So this is the first one for an F&B brand that we're working with. And I think it makes sense because it's the same industry. So it's a no-nonsense email opt-in, as you see here. There's no, get a 10% or get free shipping, any of that story. Simple, subscribe to our mailing list and you will get newsletters. So the key thing here is optimizing the email opt-in experience itself, right from everything that you can think about optimizing. So, the content, the image that you're using, the messaging and the copy. For a lot of cases, adding this simple privacy statement, specifically in, GDPR countries, massively improves your email opt-in rates. And that is what happened for Max Brenner. We saw about a 8 to 10% higher opt-in rate after adding this privacy statement. So that's the kind of potentials that are unlocked once you start A/B testing stuff with something as simple and fundamental as an email opt-in, right? And when you have a capability like that in your arsenal, you then can start A/B testing even the discount offerings that you have when your abandonment pop-ups or your email opt-in pop-ups. A lot of websites, a lot of brands are very enthusiastic about giving a 10% off in exchange for signing up for a newsletter, because that acts as an incentive, and it's important to give incentive to people in today's day and age. So A/B testing helps you optimize even the discount communication that you have. There are so many multifold benefits of running good email opt-ins. Ascend is doing a great job with about a 30% revenue coming there. So, stuff like this, when added on top of that, will very beautifully complement it. Right? Personalizing the experience and adding social proof. Now, these are two things that I think, given the nature of, the products that are there on Mama Says, is the fact that people will definitely not convert in the very first visit. So you might want to remember their selections or their cuisines or their dietary preferences and remind them in the form of a recently viewed product section on the home page, or a recently viewed meal widget somewhere on the home page. And another thing that will really work well in their case is using social proof. A good way to communicate social proof is numbers. Talk about how many meal plans. There are many ways in which you can do that. You can talk about how many meal plans you have curated for customers so far, or how many customers have come on the website and curated those meal plans. So the copy can read something as, more than 100 or more than 1,000, whatever is the number, satisfied customers or happy customers. What you can also talk about is how many orders or how many meal plans are being created while I am on the website. So we are running this implementation again for DK Hardware. This is running on their product pages, but the implementation is this: 26 people purchased this product in the last 7 days, right? A very small nugget of information on the product page. This is something we've A/B tested, has given the website about a 12% higher conversion rate. And purely on the back of the fact that this adds a lot of validation that the product that I'm looking at or the brand that I'm engaging with right now is a trusted brand. People are going for the same thing. Now, an implementation exactly similar to this, of course, wouldn't apply for Mama Says, but what can work for them is how many orders are being placed or how many meal boxes are being delivered per week.
One of the constraints we have seen with doing these implementations is that people just put some BS up in place of actual numbers. In which case we've actually built, because we have integrations with all major platforms, Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento, etc. We actual order data and then show a number here. We can also put a tick and say verified with actual orders, so that makes it look better. Now, Julian has a very interesting question. What is the lift with this widget? The interesting thing is, Julian, this is probably going to be very surprising, but every time we run this, we don't just run it. We A/B test it. And about 45% of the times, this A/B test fails. So the fact that 26 people have bought it or 500 people have bought it before, we've done it on several different kinds of businesses sites. We've done it on supplement websites, on auto parts, on sites selling, all kinds of products. We worked about 40 different industries. But 45% of the times it has returned a negative result on the A/B test, which is super surprising, because this looks like a really straightforward default implementation. Most websites just install a $5 plugin and they think they've done a great job with CRO, but that's actually not true. I would definitely recommend any brand who tries to do this to A/B test it to be sure that it actually adds value.
Right. So I think in terms of the overall ideas, the methodology, as I said earlier, was a snapshot analysis, having a look at this, understanding what kind of sort of gaps you can identify. What I would also like to add here is, for the benefit of everyone, is that this entire activity becomes a lot more meaningful when you're dealing with data. For obvious reasons, I couldn't have access to either Mama Says or Sense GA or any other analytical data for that matter. But the real way this should be done is you have your user level data and your behavioral data in front of you, and you scrutinize that. You really dissect it and slice and dice it to understand what are the major drop-offs and exit points in your funnel, what could be the potential reasons behind those drop-offs. And once you've narrowed down on certain potential reasons for those drop-offs, you have certain solutions that you have to counter those reasons. You experiment with them, you set them up, you A/B test, and you do this as a cyclic process. A lot of brands that I speak with, Shekhar, this is where they fail. They understand that this is what is needed to be done. They either don't have the kind of manpower resources who can do this dedicatedly for them, on a regular basis, or they just, they are not familiar with how A/B testing should be done. I've spoken to marketers who have a kind of a question, which is, why can't we make all of these changes in a single go and be done with it? And I think the simple answer to that is you should never do that. You should never expose your website to multiple changes simultaneously. Always, sort of pick and choose the what according to you should be the highest impact changes. And that's what our team helps you understand. That's what our team's job is, looking at your data and trying to sort of predict what could be the most high impact changes, going ahead, implementing them. The minimum that you walk away from an A/B test, even if the A/B test falls flat on its face and is a massive failure, is better understanding of your audience, better understanding of how your traffic behaves to a certain kind of change, right? And yeah, anything else that you'd like to add, Shekhar, with respect to the teardown of these two websites?
I think this was extremely thorough. Loved it. I think we've already added a lot of insights. I just want to be respectful of everybody else's time. Everybody who stuck around. I think we've done a good job, because almost everybody who joined the webinar has stuck around on the chat so far. So super helpful. Lisa, I'll be in touch. Ron, I'll be in touch. Julian, I'll be in touch with you as well. So we'll reach out to you, set up a time to talk. Thank you so much for joining us. If anybody else who's on the call needs a one-on-one website teardown, please reach out to us, or just say hi in the chat and we'll reach out to you and set a call up with you. But thank you so much once again for joining us. I want to be respectful of everyone else's time, and yeah, all the best. And I really hope your conversion rate doubles after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.